Johnson & Wales University and the Distinguished Visiting Chef Committee proudly presents the Distinguished Visiting Chef Series, an educational resource and video reference library for culinary students and professionals. Today's guest chef, Joseph Leonardi.
Morning, everyone. How are you doing? First of all, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your class time to come and be our guest at the 168th DVC. Chef Leonardi is who we are honoring today. And before I introduce the chef, we have a little surprise. Chef Stanley Nikas is the founder, one of the founders of the Distinguished Visiting Chefs Program. Back in 1979, he thought of the idea with Dr. or Chancellor Bowen, Dr. Bowen, and they began the program with Chef Number One in 1979, and here we are today, 168 chefs later. But Stanley is also, first of all, he's an executive chef. He's a doctor, honorary doctorate, and from Johnson & Wales University. He owns the Castle Restaurant in Massachusetts, and he is a dedicated person to raising the bar in our profession. And come this May, he's going to celebrate his 90th birthday. He is also a veteran, and he is in the Second World War too. He served our country. He was on the USS Bunker Hill battleship or aircraft carrier today. There were 7,000 sailors on that ship. They went to the South Pacific, and he was in battle. He's a combat veteran. And we want to honor him today. One of his friends from the Biltmore, John Lamothe, Mr. Lamothe, if you would, has a gift for Dr. Nikas. And Stanley doesn't know this, but...
Chef Stanley, we talked this morning, and Chef said, I don't have a collection of anything. All right, so I said, okay, I'll take care of that. I met Chef Stanley staying at the Biltmore. He wore a blue baseball cap that said USS Bunker Hill, CV-17. And I told him, well, that's an Essex-class carrier. We hit it off pretty good after that. Navy guys will wear a cap, like a or something signifying their ship. Army guys will wear something with their rank or some special qualification they might have had. Like maybe some guy that was a lieutenant, jump qualified. Chef, on behalf of the Biltmore and all your friends over there, I'd like to present you with your first model of the USS Bunker Hill.
I spent 3 years on this, and my station was right here. Guns on the after deck. And between the planes and the guns from the ship, we shot down 760 enemy planes. 760. I didn't know the Japanese had so many planes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I always wanted one like this. Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. And congratulations, Stanley. Thank you for your service. Now, what we'd like to do is introduce Chef Leonardi, Joseph Leonardi. He is a Johnson & Wales. He sat in your seats. He has an associate degree from Johnson & Wales University. He has a bachelor's degree, and he has his master's in education, all from Johnson & Wales University. And Chef Leonardi is a talented person. The best aspect about him is, though, not only is he is a leading chef in the United States, he's an avid competitor within himself and within the culinary world. Since 2006, Chef Leonardi has competed on the international stage. He's competed at the Culinary Olympics in Germany. He's been all over competing, Luxembourg. He's earned 14 and counting gold medals, gold and silver medals in international competition. So I just want to say congratulations. He has that passion that all of you have about cooking. He loves to cook, and he's the executive chef at the Somerset Club in Boston. And what I love about Joe is that when he was here, he was a faculty member, he was a department chair, and then during that period, he discovered and set a goal for himself. As a young professional, he set a goal to become a certified master chef. And to do that, he had to leave the university to gain experience, to qualify, to meet the certification, master chef certification qualifications, the criteria. And he's doing that. He's set a plan, he's achieving it, and I am so proud of you for doing that. And you're achieving, you're successful, you're competing at the highest level in the world as far as culinary arts, and he's winning gold medals, but he's learning. More important, he is achieving, but he's learning the process to become a certified master chef. And I know very soon you will achieve that goal. And I just want to wish you, on behalf of the university and the College of Culinary Arts, and all of the students and all your colleagues, that much success, and anything that we can do to help you, you just let us know.
Was that on tape? Yeah. Just so we know? Good. Okay.
So please welcome Chef Leonardi.
Thank you. Good morning. How's everybody? Great. Good? Good. Well, now that Dee McVetti stole everything I was going to talk about, there's really an important message that I really want you all to get today. Anybody can come up here and cook food and puts out some food and, do some dishes, but Dee McVetti said something that really touches me, and that's, I was there. I sat in those seats, and I dreamt. I said, man, one day I want to do that. And, you always got your clique of friends, and, one friend might say, whatever, and then your other friend might support you. But I was there, and it hit me last night, and I was telling some of the chefs, 20 years ago, I stepped foot here at Johnson & Wales, and I don't know where the time went. I really don't. And I guess that the point that I'm trying to say is, well, one, I remember sitting there, and whenever the presenter said, well, 20 years ago, the first thing that, oh, this dude's old. And, so I think that's the most part that I'm having a hard time accepting. But 20 years, and it went by like that. I mean, 13 years, 14 years, I was married, and, I have 3 kids, and then my career. And it's just something I want you guys to all get is everybody can be here. And goals are really important to set in life. And if you don't set goals for yourselves, then you're just going to, and maybe this is wrong, and maybe it's going to come out the wrong way, but if you don't set goals for yourselves and try to obtain those goals, then you're just going to be that average chef. And we're not the average chefs. Johnson & Wales does not produce average chefs. We're the best. And the faculty here is the best. And maybe you guys don't see that. Maybe the freshman group doesn't see that, but maybe the seniors, maybe it's starting to click now, because in May you're going to be leaving. You're going to start working. Life changes. And then you start to realize, well, maybe what, Chef Chiaro said, maybe that makes sense, or Chef Haddad, and, I had all the, I had all of them, and it's, and it's just set goals, and, and I'll talk more about that, and it's just really, really important. I want to thank Dee McVetti and Johnson & Wales for having me here. It is truly an honor, and it touches me that I'm here, because it's special, and it means a lot to me. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, and that's it. We're done. So there's a couple of things that I'm going to do today. And somebody asked, they said, oh, chef, how come all these recipes are scaled for 110? You know, the yield is 110. And, you know, they said, you know, usually recipes of 4 or 6 or 10, but 110. 110 portions is what the Olympic team has to do when we compete. We have to do 3 courses in 6 hours, and we have to do 330 plates, okay? And we have to do everything from scratch, okay? We can't bring in stuff half done and, you know, none of that stuff. So half of those recipes, all the beef and the fish recipes, they're all scaled for 110 portions. That's the reason why, okay? In case anybody has a question. The other recipes are recipes that we do at my club. Like Dean McVetti said, I'm the chef up in Boston. My door is always open, so if anybody would like to ever come up and spend a day or 2 with me up there, you know, you're always more than welcome. But the duck rillette and the foie gras terrine, that's all stuff that we do up at the club, the ice cream and so on. So I do need to adjust one recipe, though, that we noticed. There's the foie gras ice cream. It says 200 grams of salt. Well, unless you want to melt it and never freeze it, that needs to be 2 grams. So just so that you guys know, okay? Any
take questions as he's demonstrating. If you want to have questions, please let me know.
Yeah, you know, we sent out a survey, and I'm not going to touch on this because I don't think that this is, I don't think that when you graduate here that this is the #1 driving factor where you should go. But it sparked an interest to me, and the #1 thing that students wanted me to talk about was money. And I see that a lot because I have interns from Johnson & Wales, Cordon Bleu, CIA, and they all come to me, and the first word is, how much money am I going to make, chef? Oh, what are you going to bring to the table? You know, that's not the driving factor, guys, and that really should not be the driving factor for you to take a job when you leave here. What are you going to get from the chef? That's what you guys all should be thinking about. You know, what am I going to gain? What am I going to gain if I go and work for, you know, the Castle Hotel? Or what am I going to go gain if I go and work for Chef Leonardi up at the club? That's the most important thing. You're young. You're not old. I can say I'm old now. 20 years ago, you know?
They might have something to say about that.
Yeah, right. You know, but don't think that. You know, I have students that are with just an associate's, and they're, you know, they want to make $22 an hour. $22 an hour. I don't know what you guys are doing today in school, but that's unrealistic goals, okay? And that's not something that you should have in your mind that I'm going to leave here and start making $22 an hour. That's not going to happen. What you need to do is think about, what am I going to get from that establishment? What am I going to learn? Okay? Maybe you guys need to do something on your own. You know, I have an intern that used to work for me, and the intern said, you know, chef, I want to learn how to fillet fish. Well, when you do an internship at my program, at my club, there's different levels that you go through. And if you're not at that level yet to fillet fish, you're not going to fillet fish. That's just the way how it goes. But you know what? If I'm going to start filleting fish, and you want to learn how to do it, and you know that I fillet fish on Thursdays, what do you think you should do? What do you think, guys? You should go. Why? I don't. It drives me crazy. Well, chef, I wanted to sleep in. Sleep in? What are you talking about, sleep in, man? This is your career. This is your craft. Okay? The instructors used to break my chops. I was the young stallion when I first started working here. And I would come in, and chef would know. I'd be here at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yes, it's crazy. And I look back at it today, and yes, it's crazy. But I wanted Somebody said to me, I'm never going to make it in life. I'm never going to be a good chef. And I'll never forget that conversation. It bothers me. And I proved them wrong. Okay? And that's something that everybody can do. And I put the time in to be selected. I've been on the culinary team since 2005. I made it. And I've been with them ever since. And every day I'm with them, I learn. And this isn't about me and the medals that I won. And I'm not somebody that talks about myself. Believe me, that's not why I'm here. I want you guys to realize that 20 years from now, you can be standing here. Okay? That's what's important. But let's start going here because I'm going to start falling behind and Chef's going to yell at me. So something that I just want to quick go over with you is, and you guys are going to be tasting this later, so if you have any allergies or anything, you guys will know what's in them. But we do this duck rillette at the club, and there's fresh orange zest in there, and a little truffle goes in there, some thyme and parsley, foie gras fat, some heavy cream. It's all low-cal, you know, it's good for you. And we don't have any nutrition here, do we? Great. We had a nutrition instructor in here yesterday, and he saw us making it, and his eyes were just, I could see him counting up calories and good and bad, and it just wasn't good. So, but we do this duck rillette dish, and then I add foie gras to it. And what we do with the foie gras is it's generally cured, and the cured recipe is in your textbooks because they're so thick. And we cure them overnight, and then I take hot port wine that has bay leaves in it, and vanilla, star anise, a little clove, and then once it's been cured, we take it and I pour it right over. And then we just let that sit and marinate. And then once it cools off, then you have that beautiful red outside on those foie nuggets. And then when you cut it, you have the beautiful beige color of the foie gras that's been cured, okay? And you guys are gonna see it because you guys are gonna be tasting it real soon. But to make the rillettes are very easy. You guys know how to make duck confit? Yes, no, maybe? Yeah? So you cure the duck overnight, take the cure off it, put it in duck fat. I mean, how can you go wrong? Anytime you cook anything in duck fat, I mean, it's like heaven. We do French fries at the club in duck fat. And anytime I can cook with, I gotta watch because there's nutrition here. Anytime that I can cook with fat from an animal, the product is really, really much better. Shh. Take it easy, boys and girls. Take it easy. But I mean, it just tastes so good. So what we do is I cured the duck, and then we cooked it in duck fat for about 12 or 14 hours, 200 degrees, and then yesterday we took it and then we shredded it up. So that's what I have here, okay? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little mustard. I put in there a little mustard. I have my orange zest that goes in there. This is low-fat foie gras butter. That goes in. I have out there a little heavy cream that we're going to put in there. That's low-fat too. And then this here is foie gras mousse. And the reason why I use the foie gras mousse is this is going to help bind it all. So once you take this and then you start mixing this up, you know, sometimes things are just better to do with your hand. But you would take this, mix this up, and now you have your rillette. And then typically what we would do at the club is we would take this rillette, put it into a small little ramekin, and then put foie gras fat on top of it, okay? And then the membership would take it and then we serve crostinis and stuff, and then they would eat it. So since it's such a big seller at the club, what I decided to do is I took the rillette and I put it into a terrine mold, just like so. Cecilia, can you grab me the terrine that's on that shelf? And then what we do, now you have to imagine that this here has been in here for about an hour or so. But what you would do is then take these nuggets and then start placing them on top. So quiet.
Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Once those nuggets are on top, then you would take it and press it, and then leave it in the cooler overnight. And then once you leave it in the cooler overnight, this is what you're going to end up with.
Yeah.
Yes?
You fill the terrine, how far up do you fill that?
I would fill that, Dean, all the way up to the top. Yeah. The ones that you have today have truffle in them. So if anybody's allergic, I know there was a concern for mushrooms before, but there is a truffle that is in there.
Chef, we have a question over here.
Sure.
Why culinary, Sean?
Why culinary? Is that my friend from before? I chose culinary. Like I told the class that was here earlier, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I mean, you asked me a question, I'm going to tell you the truth. I used to go to a bakery, believe it or not, when I was a kid. And when I was at the bakery, the number one thing about being at the bakery was watching the impression on the customer's face when they got their products. It could have been a cake, it could have been an eclair, it could have been anything, a piece of baked bread. But the impression that I saw on their face has always stayed with me. And, you know, I know I was talking to them before, and I said, well, you know, law enforcement or a chef. And I went back and forth. And both would have been great careers for me, but my passion was for cooking. I did it with my mother. I do it with my kids. So, and I just find enjoyment with it. So I chose cooking, and I'm glad that I did. So.
We are too.
So then, as you can see, this is the terrine, and this is what will be coming out to you guys in a little bit. But if you can see, I don't know if there's a picture anywhere, but that's the way how the terrine would be. That's the way how it would set up. And then you can see that the rillette's up here, and then all the foie gras is over there. You can see the way how the port infused into the foie, the way how it's nicely cured, and then you have the duck rillette on top. Another element that you might want to add to this, toasted hazelnuts, crusted and toasted hazelnuts. We left off hazelnuts because of allergies and so on, but I mean, it's simple, it's fast, and it's super flavorful. And you know, something that we do, something I do at my club is I use everything. I mean, I get a chicken, I use the whole thing. You know, that's money. You know, the bottom line is all comes on my shoulders. And any way that I can make money or save money for us, you know, I do. So if I get a chicken, I'm saving skin, we're rendering down the skin, we're cooking with the fat, you know, I'm keeping the bones, we're making stocks. I use everything, everything. The red wine here, we would reduce it down. You can use it for a little syrup that would go along with the foie gras terrine. So a very simple, easy terrine. You guys are all going to try it. Along on that tasting plate is a rosemary waffle with foie gras ice cream. Okay. Typically we do rosemary cones, and then I fill it with the foie gras ice cream. Okay. And then also what's on there is a truffle macaroon with foie gras mousse. So it's a foie gras tasting, as you can see. All right, so I hope when it comes out later, you guys all enjoy it. And, you know, if you have any questions about it, please let me know, so.
Chef, that's excellent. Let's give it up for Chef and his,
Just gonna go.
But I'm gonna ask some folks about Chef's cooking. It's a real deal. We're gonna talk to the Leonardi children. Dunkery yet at home? No? No? What do you guys like that your dad makes at home?
Probably his pork roast.
His pork rolls.
Whoa.
Oh, what does he do special for the pork roast that you like?
He puts good, like, seasonings and stuff.
That's good? All right. You got some more here. Clams? You should be having a demo of that then, right? How about you, bud?
Steak.
Steak. What's special about the steak?
No.
No? It's just good, huh? All right, good. I guess, Chef, you can keep it up. You're doing a good job. at
Good
home.
deal. Well, they know if they said something bad, they were going to school, so. Works both ways. You know, it's funny that Adam was over talking with my kids and stuff, but one of the questions that came up was, you know, Chef, how do I balance my life? You know, I wear a lot of different hats, and, you know, my career, my family, and then, you know, the Olympic team. And it's a lot. I travel a lot for the Olympic team because that's something that I have to do, and I give back to the team that way. So how do I balance it? I don't really know. I'm still trying to figure it out, but one is having great support, and not only my family, but Johnson & Wales is the reason why, and I'm not saying this because I'm here, please don't think that. Johnson & Wales, though, is the reason why I am who I am today. And the reason for that is this guy, Chef Leonardi, and there was another chef that was here, believed in me and my skills, and they pushed me to try out for the team. And I thought for sure there was no way I was going to be able to make the team. No way. And the point that I'm trying to make is, you know, I spoke to the pastry classes this morning, and again, I'm speaking from the heart, and I'm speaking from the, you know, truth. The faculty here, they are amazing. You don't, maybe some of you don't realize that, but when you leave here and see what's out there and see what's here, it's night and day. I mean, I've been there, I've seen it, I've been here, you know, and again, tap into that resource. They are super talented. They know so much. And even I today still tap into this resource here. You have to. And they are always willing to take you back and talk to you. I don't know about Chef Haddad, you know, but for the most part, you know, everybody. So tap into your instructors while you're here. And I don't want to say use them because that's not the right word, but, you know, do whatever you can to tap into their brains and gain knowledge from them. So.
Chef, real quick, we have a question for Professor Abrams.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask over you mentioned 20 years since you were last here. Have you seen changes in your own cooking or your own approach to cooking or your use of different foods or spices or whatever in that 20 years?
Sure. I guess the biggest thing is the molecular cooking. And I go both ways on that. I am a true believer. You know, we used to do 48-hour braised short ribs. And what we would do is, Celia, can you grab the fish and just put it up? And what we would do is we would take the short ribs, we would sear them off, cool them, put them in a cryovac bag, and then stick them in a circulator and cook them for 48 hours. Great. So the end result is you get a short rib that's been cooked in water, but it's beautifully pink in the center. Is that really how you braise? Not really. You know, do you really have, you know, when you really braise a good piece of meat, you see that beautiful glaze that you get on top when you're basting it and turning it, and can't you see the difference? I'm not saying that molecular cuisine is bad, because I do things like that. I believe, you know, we do lamb chops up at our club. My lamb chops are beautiful, and that's because I cook them in a circulator. I think it has its purposes, and I think it doesn't. And I think traditional cooking should always be the foundation to whatever you're doing. There is no, if you were to compare those 48-hour braised short ribs to a traditional braise, it's night and day. Yeah, you don't have the beautiful pink center, but would you ever really, if you did a braise? No, you wouldn't. Chemicals in cooking are very big today. I use them every now and then. I use them more for a stabilizer than I do to push whatever I'm trying to create. If I need the stabilizer to stabilize whatever I'm making, then I use it. If not, then I stay away from it.
So
You know.
feel that pressure of novelty, of the need to have some novel food experience?
I think the younger generations see it. And the younger generations, you know, we were out last night and the chef said, oh, you know, my guys brought in nitroglycerin and, you know, they were freezing cookies and, you know, whatever they were doing. And yeah, you know, I think some of that's really cool. I do. But I don't know, you know, I'm on that cusp of that generation where I think it's really cool to use it, but it's got to have a purpose, and the application has to be correct for it. And braising, you know, there's so much that they do with braising and cooking in the circulator. I think vegetables come out beautiful in the circulator. But in reality, I can't do that. It's not realistic. The cost of the bags cost 55 cents a piece, if not more, depending on the size. So, you know, alone, you know, 55 cents might not seem like a big deal, but when you're doing 300 plates a night, do the math, good boys and girls. It starts to add up. And you're going to be the chef. So is it really realistic to do it that way? Why can't I just saute them? Why can't I just put them in some salted water, heat them up real fast? You know, you're going to blanch them, and then saute them off with some nice shallots and garlic. I think it has its purposes here and there, but restaurants pull it off. They do. You know, you have all your high-end Per Se's and Clio and Radius and all of those. They pull it off, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm more of a traditional guy. You know, that's who I am. I cook from the heart. It's a free ingredient. You know, so. Any other questions?
Jeff, I have a question. How do you see convenience food affecting the industry since you've been out of here for 20 years?
I'm never going to live this now. Convenience food?
Yeah, we see it all the time. We all need to buy pre-done onions. I'm teaching a stock class. We buy pre-made stocks. I mean, it's a class.
Chef, I think it's more labor, because I hear it from my GM, you know, I think, and it's more with the pastry, for me, it's more with the pastry. Well, you know, it's easier and it's cost effective if I buy, and nothing against pastry chefs, Chef Costin, sorry. I didn't mean it that way. You know, but that's where I see it the most is, you know, my GM will say, you know, this will cost me $1.25 to buy, but I'm paying somebody $22 an hour to make it. You know, where is the balance here? Thank God he supports what I do, but I definitely think that all of that convenience stuff is coming in because of the cost and what it takes, and you know, what does it take to put on a stock every day? I mean, we make stocks. Gio works. I don't know if Gio's not out there. I mean, Gio works for me, and you know, I mean, every other day we're making 20, 30 gallons of stock, whether it's chicken or veal or beef, you know, whatever it is, duck. And that adds up. I got to pay somebody to do it. I got to bring in all the mise en place to do it. So is it cost effective? I mean, we do it because that's the type of club that I'm in. You know, do I know a lot of clubs that bring that stuff in? Absolutely, especially glosses. You know, it's definitely cost effective to bring in a made gloss than it is for us to make it. So,
Yeah, Chef, we're in the 21st century technology world today. So if you look at all the cooking channels,
yep.
and you're watching Iron Chef, you're watching all these shows, technology has played a major role to the 21st cooking today. So molecular cooking,
Mhm.
all these other things. Do you think that we are losing our traditional basis and we are heading more towards the 21st century type cooking methods?
I definitely think that there's a wave that's going that way. Alinea, you know, if we just quick touch on Alinea. Alinea was a big move into that molecular cuisine, and I ate there. I don't know, we ate 16 courses. The food was this big, 16 courses, and it cost me $400. Is that realistic again? I don't think so. But if you look at what he's doing, he's changing back to go more traditional in some of his restaurants. I think people are looking for the value. You know, I think sometimes you need to go out and get that experience. I do believe that there is a wave going that way, especially with the younger generation. They see that, they think it's cool. You know, I got nitroglycerin, I'm freezing meringues in there. You know, it's the whole visual thing. It is. I asked Gio, should I do a molecular demo or should I do a more traditional? And I decided to do the more traditional. That's what food to me is. So do I think that there's a wave that way? Yes, I do. Do I think it needs to be controlled under? I do, because I don't believe in all that cooking. You know, that's who I am.
So you think labor plays involved because in 21st century cooking,
Well, if you
it's
look,
cheaper to go 21st and then go to the old traditional because there's more. It's time consuming to do the traditional method, right?
no, it's more. It costs more to do the molecular than it is traditional, because if you ever look at those high-end restaurants, I got about 20 cooks, let's say. If you're looking at some of those other restaurants, there's 40 cooks. You know, Alinea had rows of, you know, their kitchen had carpet on the floor, if I remember, and cold tables. And I think they had a couple induction units. That was it. Is that cooking? I don't know. You know, to me, no, it's not. But all that labor to do it, it costs a lot. Yeah.
One more question?
Sure.
Or I've got one here. Oh, sorry, Chef.
Chef, you told us that 20 years ago you had a vision for
What's the
yourself.
20-year thing, guys? We got to let that go, please. Please.
It's a good number. You had a vision for yourself 20 years ago, and
Yeah.
you're fulfilling it right now. So right now, do you have a vision for yourself in another 20 years?
Well, I have a vision for the next 4 years. Let's start with that. And like Dean McVetti said, you know, I took, here's a good thing. When kids come out of college, they want to go from here to here. And everybody forgets about all those steps that you got to take in order to get to there. And even me, man, I'm still right here in the middle. And regardless of a title that I might have or that Master Chef certification, I still learn, man. I learn from students every day. I learn from my interns every day. So my plan for the next 4 years, yeah, I'm going to obtain that Master Chef certification. Whatever I need to do, I'm going to do it. That's who I am, okay? I have the support from my family. I have the support from Johnson & Wales. I have the support from my job outside of here. I'm going to obtain it. That's it, okay? After that, I'm going to win the Olympics. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed that the culinary team walked away with 2 silver medals. And I'm going back, and we're going to win it. That's my goal. After that, we're taking a big vacation. But yeah, you know, and I mean that, you know, win or lose, my team, we gave it 110%, and we hit some major obstacles when we were over there, you know, and I was talking to the chefs and Dean McVetti about it. And, you know, I don't have any reason to be embarrassed. I really don't, but I am. And me as a person, I won 2 gold medals, and I'm going back. So, I don't know.
All right. Chef Celia fillets that black cod over there.
Yeah.
I've got one more question.
Sure, yeah, ask away.
Something that's near to me is allergies and diseases in the restaurant.
I'm sorry.
Something that's kind of near and dear to me is allergies and diseases in the restaurant, how they're treated and how those people are fed.
Right.
I was wondering how you have been addressing that up at the club.
Oh, we have a huge population. The question was allergies and, you know, how do I deal with allergies in my club? And we have there's a big wave today with gluten-free and celiacs, huge. I would probably say I have 700 members. I would probably say I have about 75 that dine on a regular basis that are gluten-free. I have 2 people that work for me that is gluten-free celiacs. Anytime they come in, you know, I have a list of what to cook and what not to cook. My staff, you know, especially the guys on the line, they know what to cook and what not for gluten-free. And that's because one of the managers is gluten-free and she talked to us. But as far as like a peanut allergy, shellfish allergy, everything is done separately. I don't play games. I don't want to play games. I don't want to ever be in a certain circumstance where I ever harm somebody. It's taken very seriously, and I don't play games with anything. Christmas, I got a phone. Now the club's closed that I work at on Christmas. We did a special cake for a person that was highly allergic to nuts. She called me at home to make sure that the cake that she received was nut-free and that the person who made it was in no contact with nuts. That's the type of relationship that I have with my membership. Call me at home, do whatever you want. I mean, it bites me in the butt every now and then, but that's what I want. I want to make sure that people are safe. And, you know, something that I learned from here, and again, you know, maybe you don't see it now, but you will when you're out there and you're running your own restaurants. In Massachusetts, we don't have to take time temperatures and logs and all that stuff. And, you know, I was there, man. Oh, God, we got to take logs. And, oh, here comes Chef Kender. What's she going to find today? And, you know, and here's, you know, this other person. And, you know, it was a pain in the neck. You know, then the chef would yell at you and put gloves on and, you know, don't do this. We take temperatures of everything. We temp everything. We watch it when it cools. We take twice a day all of the refrigeration in the club. And the Board of Health is ecstatic that we do that. It's not required. And they love that I have a logbook that shows all of that. And they use my facility as a training. They bring new employees in, or people that are in the restaurant industry, they come to my club to see what we do. You know where I learned it? Here. I didn't learn it somewhere else. I didn't learn it working down at the restaurant. I learned that here, guys. Think about it. And that's why it may, you know, maybe it took me 15 years for all this to sink in and kind of like, holy cow, man, that made sense. But this is where you learn it. It really is. So, whew. I know.
Isn't he great?
Already did. Step ahead of you. Thank you. No. All right, so here we got this black cod. You want to fillet it? Celia is our scholarship winner, just so everybody knows. So she needs to earn it. So I'm going to quick fillet this fish for us. I've seen this done on TV.
Are there any tips to
Yeah, you see the motion in my hand? You see me doing this? No. See the nice smooth creases I'm doing? That's how you fillet fish. You don't use just a, you know, I'm not gouging and I'm not, you know, poking at all the meat. I'm following that bone structure. I'm going around the bone structure. Learn the fish. If you don't know what type of fish it is, you better read up on it, because you know that tuna has a bones that go like this. Black cod, bones that go like this. You know, a lot of times if it's salmon, you know, regular old round fish, people just come and fillet it straight down. It only has that one bone structure in there. That's okay to do that, okay? So you got to know what you're filleting first. Right, well, right, and I'll show them that. I don't, you know, when I skin this, I don't like to skin all the way down to the bottom of the skin. And I'll show you the difference when I take off this other side real fast. What's up? Now, when we did this, you know, we looked at using the bones to make fumet, and, you know, we went back and forth, you know, should we, shouldn't we? And, you know, I even did it with salmon, you know, with salmon so oily, and, you know, but I said, you know, there's got to be a way, and I had Geo work on this for a little bit, and I said, you know, there's got to be a way to utilize this product. I mean, I can't just take it and throw it out. And, you know, there is. I mean, if I roast the bones from the salmon, and, you know, you can make up a little flavorful stock from it and stuff. It is very oily, so you do need to depoulage it and so on. But we ran into the same problem with the cod. The cod, black cod, was very oily, and we had to make a decision when we were competing. Do we want to use it? I mean, you never go into a competition and just take bones and put them off to the side. That's just that's a no-no. You know, you don't do that. You need to utilize it. So we gambled, and that's not why we got silver. So don't go down there, you know. But it didn't make the flavor that we wanted it to make. So we opted not to use it. Okay. Now this belly meat here, we use that. And what we do is we fry that up. All that belly meat's filled with all the fat in the fish. That's beautiful. So we took some of this, and part of the recipe is a Brawn Dod mixture, which I'll explain how to make. And then we took the Brawn Dod mixture, we made pasta dough, and then we rolled it inside the pasta dough to make like cannelloni. Okay, and then we put a fromage on top of it. But I'll explain that there in a few minutes. Any questions?
How long does it take you guys to determine what you're going to produce for the competition? And then once you decide on that particular selection, how often do you get to practice it so you guys are on the same?
We practice, how long does it take? It takes us about 18 months to write a menu. We practice once a month up until about 6 to 8 months prior to competition. Then we practice twice a month. And it's a lot. You know, the dedication and needs to be there, the support from family, the support from your job, all has to be there. But I would say that it takes us about 18 months to produce a menu. And the reason why, I mean, people might say, that's crazy, you know, you guy's out of his mind. It changes. You know, we want to try to be the best. We want to try to do something that's innovative, that's something that's easy to do, that makes sense, but we want to be forward thinking. So we're always changing it. Even up until like a month or two before we actually compete, we're still changing it. So it's definitely a process. We added this aioli and this fried belly about 2 months before we competed on the dish. And it's just because it needed one other element. We couldn't pinpoint what it was. So, yeah. So I'm just going to remove some of this fat right here.
Chef, just to touch on, go back 1 minute to
Yeah.
the molecular and traditional. Is it safe to say that molecular at this point is more of a fad rather than the trend?
Oh, I definitely think it's out. I definitely think it's on its... I think the whole chemical thing is on its way out. What I think, Chef, is that chefs are finding a way to utilize chemicals that make more sense in their recipes, like we do, you know. And agar isn't really a chemical, but agar makes sense. Now, we were doing a dish, and they were making agar noodles. It didn't make sense to serve it with, and I can't remember what it was served with. It was some type of cannelloni, but it made no sense to serve agar noodles with this cannelloni. I think if it makes sense, agar, vegetarians, tie the two together. Now you're making sense. You know, now it's on the right path. You know, if I need a chemical to stabilize something, it makes sense. But I'm not gonna write recipes around the chemicals, and I think that's what's changing. So see this fillet right here? A lot of times people come in and they'll say, oh, you know, I'm gonna fillet this, and they go right down to the skin, just like that. You know, and they're like, oh, Celia, you just shopping this thing? You know, and they're like, oh, you know, look at this. I got all the fillets off. You know, this is great. I know what I'm doing. And then you get me, who comes over, and I say, don't go all the way down to the skin. And they'll say, why, Chef? And I'll say, watch. I'll show you. And this is really important when it comes to like salmon. You know, I'll go right above the skin. And there's a reason why. Turn this over, no bloodline. You turn this over, there's all the bloodline. So now, you don't serve that in my restaurant. You don't serve, that's just like, that's bad. So we don't serve any fish that has any type of bloodline or marking on it. So now the cooks would have to come and they would have to start hacking away at the fish to remove this. So now if you watch what happens, so I start hacking away and I start, this is the jewel of the fish. So now I'm going to start hacking away at it and cutting it up, where this now is all nice and flat. So that's me. My cooks do it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, you know, but that's, if you work for me, that's the way how I show my cooks. I always ask them to trim it right above that fat line. I try to get as best they can off the skin. Don't go right onto the skin. So that's that right there. Any questions? All right, just give me 1 sec. Let's get rid of this here real fast. I'm gonna just get rid of this. Thanks. Sure.
Hey, Chef, talking about the science part, do you feel that having a basic understanding, even if in the traditional aspect, some science would help you and benefit you as a chef?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't say that. I don't want you to think that I don't read up on it and, you know, I don't look into it and stuff like that. I do. I'm still young, you know. But I think it needs to have the right place, man. I think the science of food is really cool, you know, and I think it has its place, and that's what interests me. I don't care about, you know, building a house and, you know, the foundations and sure, that bores me. But give me something on food and let me know the way how that food, where it comes from and how it was derived and all of that. That's cool. So yes, I agree with you. I do think that the science of food is important. I do. I just think that sometimes there's young people that go a little bit too far with it. They forget how to cook, really. You know what I mean? Because they rely on that stuff. I know, I'm running late.
Hey, Shane, you're all right.
So, you want to help me? All right. We're going to just quick start making a sofrito real fast. We're going to make a aioli, chef. Oh, this thing here is falling. This thing, just so you know. Yeah.
We have another question in the back, Chef. I'll come fix your mic. We have a question right there in the back.
Yeah, I don't want to. If I heard you right, and maybe you can give him the mic, because I did. How do I stay current?
How do you mix the two? How do you blend tradition and Please repeat the question, sir.
I was saying, like, how do you, like, use all techniques for each kind of ritual? Like, how do you, as a chef, know, like, what those terms are, like, whether you guys are, like, how do you teach yourself and your staff?
Well, first and foremost, dude, you got to read. You know what I mean? You have to see what other people are doing. You have to go out and eat and see what local restaurants are doing and see what those people are doing. I use competing as a tool. You know, people look at me and they're like, you're crazy, man. This is harder for me to do this than competing. I'd rather go and cook in front of, in front of all of you than well, I don't mean that to come out that way. You know what I mean? But, but I use competing as a tool, and I see what other people are doing. Reading, I always read what's going on. What's going on in town? What's the hot restaurants doing? I always look at the top chefs. David Ballou and Thomas Keller, and see what they're doing. And but that's how I stay current. I travel. I travel a lot, and I see what other people are doing and go from there. Yeah, pinch. Okay, I'll put some in right now. There you go. You have a question?
Has there been like any point in your career that you maybe question yourself about
The question was, and it's a touchy one, so, and I promise I won't lie, but the question was, did I ever question my career? Was this really the right choice for me? And I would say yes. You do. It's human nature. I think everybody does. And, people want to know, was this the right decision? Why do I got to work Friday nights? Why do I got to work Saturday nights? I'd rather be out there. I'd rather be with my family, sitting out there than dining, than in the line cooking. And I think it's just human nature to do that. And you're gonna rise, and then you're gonna drop, and then it's up to you to figure out what you need to do in order to get that high back. And I do it through competing, But yeah, absolutely. So we have a sofrito working now, some shallots and garlic we're cooking, and then we added some tomato product. I'm going to add in there a little smoked paprika towards the end just to flavor it. So that's going to cook. And then we're going to make a quick aioli. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in there some eggs. They're pasteurized. Actually, you know what? Good. Whisking the sherry. I'm going to put in there a little mustard to stabilize it. Get your lemon juice. A little lemon. Now we're just going to start emulsifying it. How's your arm, okay? Want to keep pouring that and I'll start doing something else?
Yeah.
Okay. So as the sofrito's cooking, ah, chef, you're not in the way. Anybody try that foie gras tasting? Is it okay? The guys in the back do okay? No? I see you looking no good? So I have some bacon rendering. We're going to cook off a little Swiss chard. No, probably a little bit more though. Tight up here. It's either that or I really put on a lot of weight. Chef, you want to do me a favor?
Yeah.
Want to bread something for me?
Yep.
Just that small piece, please.
How's this looking?
Yeah, looks good. Okay. Good deal. Chef, you want to keep an eye on that? Yep. So we're going to take this aioli, we're going to put it in here. Yeah, we're good.
That canister, Chef.
I'm sorry, what?
That canister you're putting the aioli in.
This is mine. Liar, Saigon.
I think it's engraved on the bottom.
That's a bad inside joke. Is there a rubber gasket's missing. They have a gasket? See, you always check your equipment first.
Question. Right over here. It's okay, I can just ask you.
Sure.
Just keep cooking. Did you ever have to struggle with any of the courses you took here at Johnson Wales?
Oh.
If you did, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Chef, I was an A+ student. Honor roll. Perfect. I did struggle. I did. I actually had a personal hill or an obstacle that I needed to overcome when I first came to school, and that was the death of my father. So right away, I hated school. There was nothing here that I enjoyed, and I wanted nothing more to do. That was one of the points in my life where I said, I don't even want to be here. And again, I mean, Johnson & Wales came and they supported me and so on, but there were a lot of classes that I struggled with, and I'm not going to lie. I mean, I didn't like English. I could care less about, I think we had to take history and, you know, cost control, and, you know, it was terrible. I wasn't a book guy, you know. I couldn't see the importance of cost control. No clue. Why do I need to sit here and learn about numbers? I don't want to learn about numbers. I want to cook. That's where my desire was, to be over here and cooking. You know, that's where my passion was. Unfortunately, it took my first year for me to almost flunk, and for me to realize that if I don't smarten up, I'm going to be nothing. So did I struggle with classes? Absolutely. Did I smarten up and realize, don't get me wrong, I still had a good time, you know, but I did. I struggled. Storeroom, nothing against Chef Haddad, well, actually I had Chef Haddad for American Regional. But, you know, I couldn't understand what the importance of some of those classes were.
But you understand that today,
Huh.
you see the value in that struggle.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, if you can't cost out a menu, you got issues. You know, I do that every day. Every day I got to come up with some type of cost for something, and, you know, I have to run a certain percentage for food cost. And, you know, again, Chef, when I was 19, it didn't make sense to me, you know, or 20 years old. I couldn't see the big picture yet. And until I left the university, not left it as in, you know, when I used to work here, but left it as a student, that's when it started to sink into me and realize that stuff is important. And I need that foundation. In order to be successful, I needed that. I needed to know how to figure out how to you know, either up a recipe or lower it and scale it. Absolutely. But did I struggle? I did. Yep. Bacon's rendered. You could do the garlic, the kale, and some raisins. Yes. My favorite class? Who's asking that? Hold on, let me see who's here first. American Regional. My favorite class. I really enjoy cold food. I enjoy the art of cold food. And not that this bothers me or anything like that, because it doesn't. But I always liked it. I don't know if it was always nice and cool, you know, but I enjoy garde manger. I enjoy making terrines, all of that stuff. You know, I got to watch because he's going to yell at me and time's a ticking. But you know what I liked about garde manger is that we were able to take a chicken, right? And you had to do everything. You needed to be able to take every part of that chicken and do something with it. And that intrigued me. You know, if we broke down a fish, I had to do something with every part of that fish. And it got my mind thinking a lot. Well, you know, if I could do this, you know, chicken. You know, the first thing that people think about chicken is chicken breast. Well, what about the leg and thigh? Why do we got to leave out the leg and thigh? You know, those make beautiful roulades, and you know, people shy away from that stuff. And we do hot roulades all the time, and you know, but that's what intrigued me, I think, about garde manger. So, I'm coming. Don't yell.
About these two pieces of fish?
Yep. You can.
What was this pan on for so hard?
What you can do is We can give the fish here to Gio. He can do it in the back. You can sear off the card. Okay. Can you pan fry that?
Yeah, sure.
And can you do the tomatoes too? Don't do the hollandaise yet. What?
The tomatoes are.
Yes, I believe so. If not, let me know. It's like a circus up here.
What do you want on that pan?
Just lower it down. What else, guys? Anything else I can help you out with? There we go. How has the ethnic cuisine affect my cuisine? Honestly, in America, America's a melting pot. So we've always had that here with us. At my club, I got all the Yankees, man. They don't want anything like that. When I first started, I said something about doing like an Asian night or something. They looked at me like I had 3 heads. You know, they are, steak, meat, and potatoes type of place. Don't get me wrong, they love their wine dinners and stuff like that. But there are certain people that do enjoy it. And I think it's more of a personal learning experience than it is for me to apply that in my club. So, what? It is and it isn't. You know, I mean, we always want to try to do good, solid American cuisine. We think that's important. But we do use it. I mean, sofrito, but we always have to look at the base of American roots and go from there first. I must have nicked myself on that thing. Can you grab me a Band-Aid, please? Stitch! Medic!
Chef, another question. I have a few questions.
Yeah, fire away.
So Jeff, what would you say is your little seal on what you would like to cook, what you usually cook? Is it maybe a favorite ingredient, a favorite way of cooking things, a favorite style? What's exactly?
What's my niche?
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, somebody says, hey, what do you like to cook? And hey, what do you like to do? And I like it all, man. But I always go back to seafood. And I don't know why, man, but I really enjoy cooking seafood. And that's what I always have a tendency to go back to. Yeah.
Chef, we have another one here.
Yeah.
Chef, on your blessed cod recipe, you say to fabricate the fish. What do you mean by that?
Break it down, portion it.
Questions, folks, keep asking.
Yeah, I only need about 4 stitches, so keep going.
Chef, when you left school,
That's it.
left Johnson & Wales, what steps did you take to move forward, to keep moving forward in your career?
Well, when Johnson & Wales pushed me out, no, that was a joke, Dean. I left here with a goal, man. I wanted to be, I had to leave. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy being around people. I really do, believe it or not. But, but I knew if I didn't leave and go out and run a restaurant or restaurants or a club, I was never going to fulfill what I wanted to do. And my ultimate goal in life is to obtain that CMC certification. So after meeting with people here, the only logical decision for me was to leave. And, I left. I run one, the top club in Boston right now. It's ranked as one of the top 5 clubs in the world by the Distinguished Clubs of the World. And that's done through hard work and passion. I got a great staff that's underneath me, and I mean, it all comes down to that individual, and having that drive, man. You got to have that drive. You know, you got to shoot for the moon and lay with the stars. I've always said that, and I never wanted to be second. I always wanted to try to be a step forward, and whatever I had to do that, I always did. It hurt me. Don't get me wrong. I sacrificed a lot for it, but I'm successful today because of it. You know, I don't know if that's the right choice to do today, but it's hard work, man. At the end of the day, it's hard work. You know. I'm sorry, guys.
You want to put the cheese on there, and then we can send it on to get to our place?
Yep.
I think that's the
So this is the fromage, okay, and the recipe is in your textbooks that you got. And we take the fromage and then we roll it out and then we cut it to fit the cannelloni. And like I said, guys, we made a brandade filling, and a brandade has mirepoix in there, and then we sweat down the mirepoix. We added some cream to, Pernod and Nolly Pratt we added to it, and then we added cream and then cooked all that down. And then the brandade part is we took the belly meat from the cod and some of the scraps and we smoked them. Okay, and before I smoked them, I put them into a brine. And you all know what a brine is, it's salt and water and sugar. And we brined it, and then I patted it dry, and then we smoked it. Okay, and then we flaked it and put it into the cream mixture, and then you add potato to it. Okay, and then you mix all that binds together, and then that's what this mixture is here in the middle. So, you got this beautiful cannelloni, and this is why it takes so long to develop a recipe or I should say a menu. Well, this is great, but it needs one more thing. So what we did is we came up with the fromage, and we rolled it out, and then we put the fromage over it, and then you gratin it. Take it out, and then we add the sofrito to it. So if you can just run this back to Gio, have him cut it, and then just brown it, that would be great. So.
Chef, while you're doing that, at what point in the process does the regular plate food come in?
Well, we're always thinking, and the problem is we don't know the plates that we're plating on up until about 2 months prior to the competition. So, we might have all these great ideas, and then we try to get all these ideas on the plate. It just doesn't work. So, when we competed, the plate that we plated our fish course on was a little bit bigger than this. And that really threw us off. The other thing that threw us off is that they told us no crustaceans were allowed on the plate, and we had a whole shrimp terrine on there. So that had to come off. So we're always thinking how we're going to plate it. And then once we find out what type of china we're going to have, then it always changes. So.
Do you have something when you begin with the Google Cloud? If you're coming up with a new menu item or whatever you're going to do, you think about how it's going to be plated before you finish?
I do. People say I always think of the end result, and then I think backwards. And I don't know why I do that. But I always try to see what I'm going to plate on, and then I sometimes design the food to this. That's not always the right answer. Sometimes you need to think of the food and don't let this influence you. So, but I always go back to an artist. An artist has what they're going to be painting on. They know that. So why can't I use my thinking like an artist and say, well, this is my dish. I want to design my food to match that dish. So the door swings both ways on that. I know from the chefs that I've worked with on the team, we've always designed the food and then put it onto the plate. And if it didn't work on the plate, then we worked with the food to make it fit. So, but for some reason, I go backwards. It's a problem I always had. What else?
Right here, Chef.
I believe you said you worked with people who've gotten an associate's degree. Would
Yep.
you say there's an advantage in getting a bachelor's over the associate's degree, or more of the individuals
Well, that's a tough question for me. Where'd the question come from? You know, I think if the individual has a solid drive, it'll work. But an associate's degree today, personally, and I hope this is right, correct? I think you need more than that. I look for people with good education because I think it's important. You know, when I hire cooks or people, I always ask them, well, what's your goal, man? You know, where do you want to go? And what do you want to do? And sometimes they'll say, well, you know, chef, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And some of them will say, I don't really have one. You know, so I think education, a solid education, is good. And I think it's important to have a bachelor's or better. I do. Celia, come with me for
Let's
one.
make the dinner great. The tomatoes are over there for you to show me.
Okay. Yep. We're just making up a quick vinaigrette.
Yep.
All right, Chef, we're gonna fire another question at you.
Go ahead.
This is for your competitions.
Yep.
Before you go on stage, right, are there any rituals that you guys do? Or like any things you guys do before competitions?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Before like you go on stage, I guess, to cook, are there any rituals you do or like?
Somebody put you up to that? You know, I don't know how this happened, but there is a documentary coming out on the culinary team. And I guess I say a lot. I'm sorry. Let's rock and roll. It's time to rock and roll. And I really didn't realize how many times I said it until I saw what was coming out. But is there a ritual or anything? No. I'll be honest, we do say a prayer, that everybody makes it through. And, it's really hard, man. People say, or I'll say, oh yeah, we just cooked at the Olympics. Oh, you guys are feeding the athletes and doing this. And I'm like, no way, man. We were cooking, we were, in the arena. And, we cook for 6.5 hours. Then we have to serve for another 3 hours, okay? So we're in there the whole day. We don't eat, and it's draining on your body. So is there rituals or anything like that? No, there isn't. People listen to music. I, jam out to music and go sit in my corner and, try to get myself pumped up. And, my role last time was to make sure that my team members were focused. So I felt a lot of the pressure. And I made sure, and I had to reassure them that no matter what the outcome was, it's okay. And it is okay. It's okay that we got silver medals. I might not be happy with it, but it is okay. We did the best that we could. So, all right.
No. Let's put this bite together with your tomatoes.
All right.
Now, do you want to put the potato together in the back?
I'll bang out that potato right now. Okay, yeah, put all this on there. I'm sorry, guys, we're running a few minutes late.
We're all right.
I'm getting yelled at. All right.
You want the paprika in here?
Yeah, you can. You have that fish. Absolutely. They probably never will. And the reason why is because the German Chefs Association are the ones who founded it. So, and am I correct with that? Yeah, I don't think we will.
Anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think it ever will. Right. What we do have, though, is we have the American Classic, which is an international competition that's held here, and I believe it's going to be in New York. And the team, once we have the tryouts, and the tryouts are going to be in Charlotte and Denver, and then in August, hopefully here in Providence. But once we have the tryouts, the American Classic, I think, is in 2015, and we'll compete in New York. And other teams from all over the world will come and compete here. But as far as the Olympics, I don't think we'll ever see it, here. You know what we're missing? There's a pot with sauce in it. We just need to heat it up so I can mount it with some butter. It's a sherry sauce. It's in the back. Oh man, go right ahead.
Chef, I know you demonstrated the four wild before, but do you find with the upcoming and the more nutritional based foods that are being used, do you find it important to incorporate that in your menu at the restaurant? And do you guys offer, healthier dishes?
We do. You're always going to have your membership or your guests that want a healthier cuisine. The nice thing about the club atmosphere, and restaurants too, I can't, is that if somebody wants something healthier, I'll cook it healthier. I'll do whatever you want. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter to me. But we do offer a healthier, healthier items on the menu. We do. You have to. You know what I mean? In today's world, people are all about health and looking good, and it's important. But you can't take away the delicacies and the pleasures of some of that food, like foie gras, and it's beautiful. If it's done right, it's beautiful.
Excuse me, Chef.
Yes.
I just want to ask you a question regarding the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when you're doing, performing in that competition, you get nervous and you feel a lot of pressure.
Nah.
Obviously, right? Two things could happen. Is you could either feel a lot of pressure and freak out, or there's something in you that calms you down, or you think about something that, to not
snap, panic,
or snap during this competition, because obviously things just doesn't come the way it is.
It's just a sherry sauce. Tony made it. It's in the back. It's in the Bain Marie. There is, man, and you know what it is. The question was, how do you react, man, when something goes wrong? Is that pretty much what the gist of it?
If there's something that calms you down, or they think of, for example, your family, you think about your wife, your sons, or do you think about?
I think about that's it. I think about them all. There is, and it's being prepared. You know what I mean? You, as a chef, forget competition. As a chef, man, you need to know how to react to certain situations. When you're cooking on the line and your line cook overcooks something, you need to know what to do to it, man. And it's all about being prepared. It's about being on the line. Every day I cook on the line. This guy, I apologize. This chef, 90 years old, man, he's cooking on the line. That's unbelievable. I hope I make it to 90 and be able to do that. But the bottom line is being prepared. As a chef, you need to be able to react. If something goes wrong, you need to know how to fix it. And the only way that you know how to do that is get in the mix of it and do it. No, that's all right. And if you're not there and you're making a beurre mate and the beurre mate breaks, you need to know how to fix it. That's the bottom line. And you're not going to know how to fix it unless it's okay to make mistakes. That's what I tell my line cooks all the time, except for Gio. It's okay to make a mistake, man. You learn from your mistakes. You know how many times I overcooked the filet, or I overcooked something, or I broke something? That's the way how you learn how to deal with those situations. We did something in the Olympics that people, the number one rule whenever you compete is don't try something new. You never go into a competition or the CMC exam and try something new. That is a no-no. You don't do it. And you know what we did? I had to make a choice for the team. Are we going to spray our mousse? We did this mousse bar, and inside the mousse bar, it was all fillings and stuff, and it was really cool. But it wasn't where I wanted it. And I had to make a decision for the team. Do we spray them with cocoa butter or not? And the decision was solely mine. I've never sprayed cocoa butter on 125 mousse bars. The first time I was going to do that was in the competition, and my wife is mine. She saw me, and I chose to do it. And you know what? Days leading up to that, and it was only about 3 days, man, I practiced and mastered the skill. I did whatever I had to do to make sure that I was able to pull that off for the team, and we did. You know, so it's being in the mix of it. It's being, you know, learning, and it's okay. At the end of the day, man, it's okay to make a mistake, and that's how you learn how to deal with certain situations. Once you panic, you're done. You're gonna sink, man. You're gonna sink like a lead weight. So I'm gonna get yelled at here. So, but here it is, man. This here is pretty much the end of the dish. Find the sauce, Chef, or no?
Yeah, we'll have to use this one.
Okay, that's all right. So we have a sherry sauce that goes out with this, but this here pretty much, this pretty much was our dish. I'm not going to put the sauce on. I'll hold off. I'll let them know because it's night and day. But what we did, guys, is we did a cauliflower press that we set with agar, which is fine. I felt that made sense. We utilized the cod belly, so we fried it. We added, you know, you think of fried fish, and you need some type of aioli or remoulade sauce to go with it. So we did a lemon aioli. We did braised Swiss chard with some chorizo. Then we added some golden raisins to it. We did pan-seared cod loin. We did a nice frisee and apple and radish salad with the sherry vinaigrette. And then we did the brandad cannelloni with the sofrito sauce on top. So that was our dish at the Olympics for seafood. I'll hold that. All right, let's get rid of all this. Yeah. Give back to the community?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Holiday time, we do pies in the sky. So we bake about 150 pies. We give them out to the homeless. There's an organization up there that gives out to the homeless. We bake and send over cookies to children in the hospital. We don't do too much more outside of that. The only reason I started giving the cookies and stuff to the children because I felt that was something that we needed to do. And then my own line cooks and I, we try to get out to a shelter every now and then and spend time there. I think that's important. And I have 3 other people that I'm going to be bringing there because I think it's important that, you know, people see what could happen, you know, and how to help people get better. So, you're welcome. Yeah?
Chef, I have a question. 20 years ago, I believe the nutrition program did not exist at Johnson & Wells. What is your personal opinion about the nutrition program?
The culinary nutrition program? Oh, it's awesome. Absolutely. Nutrition and spa cuisine is hot, man. It might not be on everybody's radar, but it's what people want. You know, culinary medicine or food for medicine is another big thing. You know, I'm all for it. I wish I was able to do it, to be honest with you. I really do. I think childhood obesity is a major issue here in the United States. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed. Because what's going to happen to these children years from now, I see it with my own kids when they eat foods that are manufactured and preservatives and all of that. All of those additives that are added to it, it's an issue. and it's an issue that needs to be addressed. So I think the culinary nutrition program is a win-win. Absolutely. I'm going.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Get 20 minutes left.
I'm getting yelled at, guys, sorry. Okay, we're gonna saute this. We're gonna glaze these with simple syrup. And we're gonna saute these off, okay?
Chef Leonardi, one more question, Nancy, then we're gonna let you finish up.
That's all right, man, plug away while I'm working.
Chef, as the team captain, did you get to bring together your own team? How did that work, and where did they all come from?
No, I did not get to put together the team for the past team. I had influential decisions I was able to be involved in. Budgeting I was able to be involved in. There was team members that we actually asked to leave the team, and there was team members that we asked to stay on the team. I was a part of all of that. Being team manager now, I have, again, it's not that, but I have full control over whatever I want. So the focus of the team, the chemistry of the team, that's my vision now. And working under Chef Gilbert and Chef Leonard, totally two different management styles. I'll be able to take what I gained from them and put it into this new team. So. About time you're earning this scholarship, man. Where have you been all day?
She was here before we.
Guys are killing me. So we did this really cool, and this is where Chef is leading towards. We did this really cool potato dish or potato garnish on the plate. And let me just grab all this. Gio, can you give me a sauce pot, please?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. And what we did is, a sponge cake, right? I love stealing stuff from pastry. And I love stealing their ideas. The gentleman in the back, now that you say that, the gentleman in the back asked me before, where do I get ideas? Pastry. That's the truth, man. You want to now that I'm thinking about it, pastry. I always look at pastry petit fours to design my hors d'oeuvres, whether they're in the club or whether I'm competing. Some of those pastry chefs are so far out there that they got these cool ideas in their shapes that they're putting together. That's where I look. That's where I look, man. So going back to this though, a sponge cake. I love stealing stuff from pastry. So we took this sponge cake recipe and we said, okay, well, we can't just take a vanilla sponge cake and bring it into something savory. So what we did is we added potato to it. So you take potato and truffle and mushrooms, and now we're starting to get on a roll here. So what we did is I made this sponge cake, and the brown lines are mushrooms, okay? And then I added truffle in that as well. On the bottom of the ring mold, there's just a potato sockle. So what we did is we took this and we lined the inside of the mold. Do you know where that braised meat is? And what we did is, because we wanted to utilize everything, so we did strip loin. And when you break down a strip loin, you got that cap on top. And we went in there and we said, well, what are we going to do? You can't just take that cap and throw it off to the side. So we braised it, and we braised it with some oxtail. So what we did is we made this potato garnish, the sockles on the bottom, the potato sponges on the outside. And what we did is we filled it with potato, and then we braised the cap, and then we filled this with it. So what we did is this. Oh, it's right in front of my face. Thank you. I guess that's what happens when you get up 20 years
20
later.
years, a long time. Me, I'm probably.
Chef's been here 32 years? 33 years? It's amazing. So what we did, guys, is we braised this meat. And we took it like so. We stuck it in here. Yep. And we filled it. And then we needed to crust it. So we took some pancos that we toasted, a little horseradish, yes, please. Little herbs. Chef, may I have that oil, please?
Yes, sir.
Whenever you're thinking, I always try to think of, we call it the hook. The hook, what's the hook on the plate? And for us, we felt that this here was the hook on the plate. So it was a little bit of an element of surprise. Adam? Chef, these are mine. Everybody, that's that. Thanks, Jay. That went there. You want to grab me the sirloin?
In the sauce.
There was tomatoes here, Celia. Do you know what happened to them, hon?
Those big tomatoes?
No, the cherry tomatoes. He has them in the back. If you could just ask Gio. Okay. Just put these in here. Just get a flame on that shit. Any other questions, guys, as we're coming to an end? I'm sorry, what? It does, Chef, a little bit it does. Again, I have, if the membership, if they want something, they're going to pay for it, unfortunately. But it is something as an individual, I look at and consider. Believe me, we did chili and sea bass for a club event one day, and I had about a half dozen members come to the kitchen and ask me if I was crazy. And it's what they want, but I'm sorry. Yep. I see it big with my daughter. You know, we've made pasta together, and you know, we've done some ice creams and stuff together. And I think it's great to do it now and build the relationship with them. And even my middle one, my youngest one is off the wall, but you know, even my middle one, you know, like he's cooking eggs. The other day he's calling me, hey, you know, I made an egg sandwich, and whatever's going to make them happy, that's what I want. But they're here because I'm doing this for them, you know, and this award, I want to be able to share with them. So do I want them to go into this industry? If that's what's going to make them happy in life, then yes. If they're going to do it because daddy did it, then no, I don't. So, I mean, she says she's going to be a teacher, so I think I'll be okay with her. It's the other two I got to make sure get through school first. Because of time, I'm not going to do this, but what we did in the Olympics is we seared off the sirloin first, and then we roasted it, and then we went back and we did brown butter. And when I did the brown butter, we put in there fresh herbs, and we put in there shallots and garlic, and we really got something flavorful. And then we basted it again, so it got another layer of flavor on there. But I'm getting the eye.
Chef,
Yes.
are you ever truly satisfied with the dishes that you come up with, or are you always thinking about what you could have done better?
Always think about what I could have done better. Without a doubt. Always thinking about what can I do to make that better, you know? And, you know, it was funny because that foie gras ice cream, you know, I really wanted to do it we do it in rosemary waffle cones. And I really wanted to pull it off for everybody today, but there was just no way to physically serve it to everybody. So we just did it on a regular rosemary waffle. But, you know, we always think about ways, what can we do to make it better? It's just who I am, I guess. So, hope that helps.
Like, was you ever fully confident for competition?
Am I ever fully confident when we go into a competition? Yes. Can you grab me cream? I'm confident in the work that we do. Yes. And I'm confident in the team that we've put together. Absolutely. You have to. And the biggest thing is, if you're not on the same page and you go into a competition with resentment towards your team member, it's not good, because my mind is thinking about something else. And the bond that I have with guys from 2005 or 2006, they're my best friends. I can call them up anytime because we've shared so much together. I'm good with tomatoes.
You're good?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, and that's just all about being on a team. I mean, if it's baseball or football or something, you know, it's the same thing. So, I just need a pinch of cream. Thanks. Can you just stir that in? Thanks. Sorry, guys. I know we're rushing.
No. You're fine.
Thanks. Just gonna throw this in there. Sure. Do I ever do pastry work? I try to do pastry work. Let me put it to you like that. I try. I do, man, because I think in order to be a really well-rounded chef, I gotta know that. You know, I have to be able to put together, you know, an ice cream. I gotta be able to know, you know, the basics. You know, do I need a quick creme anglaise? Do I need to make up a mousse? As a chef, man, that stuff's gotta be second nature to you, because there's gonna be a time when you're on the line or you're doing something and somebody wants that. So I feel the more well-rounded you are, the more valuable you're going to be to whoever. And I have a girl who does pastry for me. If she didn't do cold food for me, she probably wouldn't work at the club. because I don't have enough pastry business. I mean, I have 2 restaurants. Both restaurants have, dessert menus. And like I said, we do everything in-house, 100%. Whether I have a party for 2 or a party for 500, all those desserts are made in-house. But you're more valuable to me if I can throw you on the line and put out salads and open up oysters and understand the importance of that. So whatever I can learn, man, I learn. So that's awesome. You guys are trying to burn me, sabotage me. I'm sorry. So we did this broccoli 3 ways. We did a broccoli puree. And then we did glazed broccoli. Sorry. I got the spoon here. And we just did some simple sauteed broccoli florets. Some roasted root vegetables, or sauteed root vegetables. We were talking about 18 months to do a menu. We looked at the dish. There was no knife cuts on the dish. This is 2 months before we're going to compete with it. We had to change the vegetable, so we added, different root vegetables. One of the hooks on the plate is that we did this fried béarnaise, and when we did the fried béarnaise, and the recipe's there, and I have to say, yes, this is a recipe that I did use chemicals for. And again, going back to my beliefs, I used the chemicals because I needed them as a stabilizer. But we wanted to do a hook on the plate, and what we did is we made fried béarnaise. So we made a traditional béarnaise. We added some chemicals to help stabilize it. We froze it, and then we breaded it. And then when you cut into it, you got that nice ooze effect. So here on the plate, we had two items with that ooze effect. What? Oh. We had the potato, and then we also had the fried béarnaise as well. Then we put on there a little pickled tomato with some orange, which we felt added some acid onto the dish where it needed it. And then we had beef jus that we added. And that's pretty much it. I'm sorry.
At the end of the day, is one of the most gratifying things at this point in your career, not having to do the dishes and clean up after everything?
It's finally, he's done something. For 2 days. It's an honor for me to be here. I can't say it again. I can't say, I'm honored. So, anything else? Any other questions I might help you out with? Yeah. That's a tough question. It is, because I think if you break down every lab that you go through, there has to be something out of that lab. And you're not a freshman, at least I don't think you are. I can't really see that far. Junior. So you're realizing now the importance of knife skills. Where when I went through Sauce Kitchen, and I'm not sure, Chef, if they call that, I think we call it Sauce and Skills or something along that line. But, I mean, who really cared about a half-inch dice and how important it was, and obliques and tournées and fluted mushrooms? Who cared? But you know what? How important are knife skills up at the club, Gio?
Very, very important.
They're not perfect. We redo them. So I think if you analyze every lab that you go through, you need to pick out the important things that matter to you. And, like sauce making. Sauce making is so important to me. If you don't set up a little container of water with a brush in it, and then you don't have a little dépoulage station, there's something wrong. Set it up. Boys, set it up. That's what I tell them. You should be brushing the sides of those saucepans so that you don't get, that burnt residue on the side. You get sauce. What drives me crazy? People make sauces and then you get that burnt side on them. Change out the pan. Change out the pan, man. You know? I think you analyze every lab, and you know, you need to pick them out. But everyone had something important to me. What else? Just know, guys, you know, it's not about what I've done. It's about knowing that goals are obtainable. And if you push yourselves and work hard, every single one of you have the opportunity to be here. And I wish you all, you know, much success. So.
Thanks very much. Come on out here. Very good. This is one of the best DVC presentations that I've seen. And I've been here for most of them. And you can tell one thing that's what Chef Leonardi is very passionate about is learning, education. It's very important. You can tell in his presentation that he was a teacher and he has his master's degree in education, and it's very good. Chef Oberlinick would like to say a couple words, and then we have a couple gifts for Chef Leonardi.
I'd just like to say that, speaking, I think, from all the faculty, we do our job, and what we're looking for is to train someone and have them go out and use what we taught them to do. And I can't say to you enough that we're so proud of Chef Leonardi, because he did just exactly that. And he went way and beyond what I think we would even expect. But the roots are here, and you have to roll your own cigar. And you have to take them, and he's done that. And I just think he did a terrific job. Let's give him a good round. Thank you.
For those of you, as Chef Leonardi said in the beginning, it's taken him 20 years to get to this point in his career, and he's not finished. You know, he has another 20, 30 years to go before he is. Probably he'll never be finished with his career, but he'll be at least satisfied, hopefully. We have a couple things I'd like to present. One is this citation. It's in the College of Culinary Arts, honors Joseph Leonardi, class of 97, 99, MAT, Masters of Arts in Teaching, in a CEC, Certified Executive Chef, the Somerset Hotel, Boston, Massachusetts, as the distinguishing visiting chef for outstanding commitment and contribution to culinary education, the 16th day of January, 2013. Congratulations and thank you for it.
Thank you.
We also have in the DVC program, we have the Johnson & Wales University DVC medallion. And I'm going to ask Chef Stanley Nikas if he would present this to Joe.
Thank you.
One thing I have learned being in the industry and being in education is that you need to be yourself. And I was so pleased that he was. This is who you see. You see a gentleman, you see a father, you see an educator, you see a professional, and he is true to himself. He's true to his values. He's true to his goal. There's no doubt in my mind he's coming back with 2 gold medals in 2016, right? Or he's not coming back, one way or the other. But the other thing is that he's a great mentor. He's a good example. He's a great role model for you to emulate and to take part. So I'm sure he'll be able to address any questions you have. I'd like to give you this presentation. I'd like to keep it here since we only have a couple more Band-Aids. The other thing is, in this industry, you need a sense of humor. You need to be able to have a release valve as far as all that pressure that comes along in the joy of this. And sense of humor is great, and I'm glad Joe has a great sense of humor. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time. I'd like to thank the educators that are here. for coming, and these were great questions, very good questions. Great answers, some, food for thought for you to be able to think about your careers here. You're at a crossroads, some of you, as far as going in from associate to a bachelor's degree. The more education you get, the more rounded your education, what you have to bring into the next employer. Yes, learn as much as you can. You will not be an expert going to a 9-day Gamma class, but you will have a foundation from your education that you can grow on. And I just want to thank you for that example. And we are very, very proud of Chef Leonardi. Thank you very much for coming, and have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Thank you. What?